There's only one disease, and that's disconnection. And there's only one cure, and that's reconnection. Hi, I'm Florian Birkmayer from AromaGnosis, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you about really the disease of modern humanity, which is disconnection. And some people use the term Wetiko, which is also called this thought virus that makes us think that we're all there is, we're all that's important, our ego is king, our ego rules all. Nature is really just materials to be exploited by digging up fossil fuels or cutting down the things around us. There are many different definitions of Wetiko, and again, it is that sense of cut-offness, and that's really one of the core functions of the ego, is to create the story of ourself, our limited self, in separation from everything else. That's an illusion that the ego creates. We could speculate why, maybe to function in the world, but it leads to all sorts of problems. It leads to a me versus everybody else, us versus them, thinking both with other people, as we're seeing around the world and the political situations playing out, but also with nature, where we don't remember that we are an integral part of nature. And so the number one treatment, the only treatment really, is to reconnect. And reconnecting requires a few things. It really requires us to transcend the ego, to remember there's more to us, to ourselves, and to our place with other people and in the world. And how can we do that? You know, in a way, I believe the ego is really a program running in the default mode network. I think one of the core purposes of the default mode network, which is a network in the brain that's always in the background, is this creation of ego. The other purposes of the default mode network are, people speculate, sort of to be in a low energy screensaver mode when we're doing repetitive tasks like driving to the store, driving to work. And it's also involved in very quick judgments. You know, oh, I like this, I don't like that, I like this person, I don't like that person. So I speculate that the person who invented the Facebook like button was hacking the default mode network, knowingly or not. So again, we have to transcend the ego. How can we do that? People talk about mindfulness, which can help, but often you still have that incessant voice running inside your head, the ego saying, oh, this is, I'm not doing this right, or this is silly, or I'm scared. So we need different strategies to transcend the ego. A great strategy, of course, is aromas, and there's actually studies that show that when we smell an aroma, it deactivates the default mode network. And really these feelings of unitary connectedness. I mean, that's, I think, why a lot of people are really interested in psychedelic therapy right now, because they have this sense of, I'm missing something, but I don't know what. And that's what they're looking for with psychedelic therapy. And the real intrinsic problem with that is that people externalize it. They say, oh, I think I need psychedelic therapy to achieve this. And that's really not the case. It's a great jumpstart. It's a great reminder. But all psychedelic therapy really does is like a mirror that shows us what we really are, which is this being in deep interaction with our environment. You know, there's a famous quote by the old psychoanalyst Winnicott, where he said, the infant doesn't really exist. And what he meant by that is that an infant is really defined purely in terms of its interactions with its mother, other meaningful people around it, and its environment. And so we could say, you know, the ego doesn't really exist because it's just defined in relationship to its environment, in relationship to our inner environment, our unconscious, our shadow, and in relation to everything else around us. And again, the default mode of the ego, the habitual unconscious pattern of the ego, is to just think nothing else matters, I'm separate, I'm all there is. And again, that's the number one disease, is disconnection, and the cure is reconnection. So we mentioned aromas already. We mentioned psychedelic therapy. I think another really, really important opportunity, and it's really our God-given right, and we've kind of our goddess-given right, and we've really forgotten it, is deep connection with nature. You know, the very air we breathe is made by the plants around us. And as much as we need plants to behold us, to interact with us, they need us to behold them. So it's more than just saying, oh, this is useful or this is nice. It's that really I and thou, that deep relationship. When you connect with a plant, when you connect with a tree, if you're open-hearted enough, if you put your ego enough on the back burner, you realize there's a conscious, intelligent being looking back at you, perceiving back at you. Plants have maybe 12 different senses. They perceive us in so many different ways than we can perceive them. So I'm here in the Bosque, which is the forest around the Rio Grande in Albuquerque, and this is just so symbolic to me. Every time I come to Albuquerque, I try to come here because it's really my favorite place in Albuquerque. And behind me, you can see a beautiful patch of yerba manza. And this is a plant that has taught me so much, that I've connected with, and Kathy has connected with many times at a really deeply powerful level. It really is a soul plant. I'm not talking about sort of the physical benefits of it, but really connecting with it, through the essential oil when I'm not here, or at other times of year when it's not active. But coming here, there's nothing quite like that feeling. And that's the whole Bosque here is very symbolic. At the core of Albuquerque is this genuinely wild forest, this genuinely wild river, without which Albuquerque couldn't exist. It needs the water, and these plants, I'm sure, contribute a huge amount to balancing the climate, providing some humidity, freshening up the air, filling it with beautiful aromatic molecules. So again, this whole geography is a reminder that we need to reconnect. So if you're interested in reconnecting deeper, we've just relaunched our intuitive plant communication class, which really teaches you how to connect intuitively with plants. Whether you work with them, use them for herbal medicine, collect them, distill them for hydrosols or essential oils. Just when you go into nature, it's just a real blessing to have tools to say, well, how do I connect with this plant? Kathy always says that her teachers told her that you have to really connect with a plant at least 9 times to begin to know it. And it's sad because, we instinctively, automatically recognize all these brands and all these symbols of the modern world, which again, I think are very deliberately designed to tickle our default mode network. But why don't we practice, cultivate in our default mode network, and really in our soul, this deep reconnection? Let's cure the one disease of disconnection with the one cure of reconnection. So if you're interested in learning how to do intuitive plant communication, I'll put the link below. We've relaunched our online class, and it'll really teach you how to connect deeply. You'll have lifetime access to it. And yeah, I just want to say welcome home to yourself, to your rightful place in this beautiful world.